All right, so we begin our Go Team Coach call for the 15th, I believe. I think is the word. I think that's right. Yeah, 15th. 15th. Yes, 15th January. I should know that since our challenge groups all started today, and we've talked about that a lot, so that's a big deal. Congrats to all you who have been part of doing stuff and who have been just digging in and helping people and making a difference. I think that's really, really awesome. So I just wanted to say congrats to you for getting people into our groups. It's been great. The energy is off the charts, literally off the charts. And honestly, guys, where you're like, and I think we have to like really kind of settle ourselves in on that sometimes, because when you're part of smaller groups that are a little bit more controlled, or there's like been people who have been in it before, they kind of know the system and all that kind of stuff. And there's all these newbies and everybody's posting lots of stuff, posting. And it's like, it's like, well, wait, it's not nice and neat anymore. And you're like, hey, I want it nice and neat. And you're like, good problems, right? It's good problems to have. So a little bit of the chaos up front. It's like, well, hey, so-and-so didn't get in the challenge thing and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, that happens, especially when we're starting multiple groups and stuff like that. So we try to apologize as best we can and get people ramped up. But I think the energy is really, really great. Any impressions, guys, real quick, of 80-day obsession so far? What's your first day takes for some of you who are doing that program? Not everybody's doing that, but if you are, what are your takes? Melissa, you want to share? Are you doing 80-day? I forget.
Me? Yes.
Oh, I was gonna say, okay. I think then if you are Linda, everybody on this call currently is. So that's cool. So what was your take on day one, Linda?
Well, I did the Little Obsessed
Yep.
for the past 2 weeks. So a lot of the moves were very similar. So it wasn't a big surprise to some of the things that we had to do.
Hmm.
Um, and I did some modification on several things only because my shoulder joints don't like me to do push-ups and then to hold myself up on a side plank for a long
Yeah.
period.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, it was. So several things like that. But I found that my weight, I think I could have gone heavier on some of the things I was doing. But
Yeah. And that's good, and that's kind of you assess that moving forward. The challenge of doing a program like this, where you don't sort of know what's happening each time, is you have to kind of discern what the next level or what next week would look like for it potentially.
right.
Hold on, sneeze.
Bless you.
So you don't know if it's going to be a situation where it's like, well, it's pretty much the same. I usually sneeze into. Well, there we go. But so yeah, so having that to be able to gauge for next week is to like what that looks like, and probably I would imagine some similar things going on. But yeah, it's good. How about you? Yeah, Melissa, what was your take?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm on a pretty strict modification right now because of my
Oh yeah,
arm.
shoulder.
Yep, yep. So, but even though I was doing a lot of modifying, I still felt it. I still felt the movements. I was still like, holy cow. And I did the uh, Little Obsess as well to kind of get me gearing up for it. So I kind of had, it helped me know what I was walking into this morning. Um, when I did it. So, for me, it's like there were some movements where I had to just like do the movements without the weights just to make sure that I wasn't adding too much strain to my arm. And just being cautious about what I'm doing and listen, really, it made me listen to my body.
Oh,
Today.
perfect.
So yeah, which is something I guess I'm not very good about doing.
Yep.
But, I really enjoyed it. I really
That's
enjoyed
great.
it.
Yeah, I would say, Melissa, part of I think if you and I would check out your timeline. I don't necessarily like am dialed in to your timeline, but like if you're not telling that modification story like all the time, you would be missing out. So like that particularly for you, and that word, I'm listening to my body,
Mhm.
dude. Like how many people just need to hear that phrase? So I'm listening to my body, not pushing beyond what I necessarily can do at this point because I want to be in that long haul and all those kind of good words, which is great. Yeah,
Yep.
good stuff. Yeah, I would imagine probably tomorrow will be a little easier for you on the booty side when it relates to the shoulder. That workout's going to be a little bit more helpful for you. Probably won't have to do as much like full out, like not even close. Sometimes, occasionally, probably you had to do some full out crazy modifications.
I did. I was doing modifications to movements where they weren't offering modifications.
Yeah, you got to go. Yeah, especially when you got shoulder, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. Jenna, how about you? What was your take? We'll quick one more here.
I really liked it. I liked the fact that I didn't know what was coming, and then also that that 60 minutes actually flew.
Seriously.
So she's like, "Oh, we're going back to the next set all over again." I'm like, "Wow, really?" So I thought that was fantastic.
I just love my sense is if you can do the worst workout format for me has always been Insanity meets 21 Day Fix Original, which is like do the same move 2 to 3 times and then go in a mix up move. It's like, I don't want to do that move again so fast. So it's so nice to do that series of 15 moves and then you do it all over again and it's not as bad. I think when you have to do it like even just doing a couple and then you have to do it again, you're like, do I want to do it again?
I feel like it's a challenge because at that next set that you've had enough time to really decide or discern, do I want to up my weights? I actually found myself lowering my weights. I was tired, it was early, and I was just listening again to my body as well. So I dropped down, from 15s to 10s, and I loved it.
Yeah. How about those renegade row things, man? That's crazy. Man.
The side planks, I fall over every time.
On the side planks, oh yeah, that on your shoulder. Actually, it's so tough on the shoulder. That's my.
It really is.
Because you got to balance on that shoulder, and your shoulder's like going. Blah, 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 blah.
I have great balance, but not in that move. Ugh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's a challenge. I love that.
Yeah. So it's really, really cool, and I think we gotta. Guys, just some news as it relates to Beachbody. On Beachbody's front, it's the biggest release we've ever done. Biggest release we've ever done. It's the strongest start we've ever had, which honestly, prior to this, like I would say, I would not be surprised. I don't know the numbers on this, but I would not be surprised if Double Time would be one of the lower starts that we've ever had. Potentially as a program before. So to go like back to back, like one of the lowest starts potentially to one of the highest start or the highest is kind of a cool thing to know. And then just giving you the quick view. I don't know if I mentioned this on a call as well either, but I talked to Joe Carden, my Beachbody rep, and he's basically telling me, he said, Dan, he goes, you just hold on to your pants. Because like this next year, if you like what we just did, just hold on to your pants because it's just going to get even crazier and cooler. So I would not be surprised. Like Joel Jericho World is probably next. I would not be surprised, Joel Jericho, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a live thing either, because those guys are both. They were Les Mills instructors. They did live, man, like live on the thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do something like an 80-day obsessed. This may be the new format for us for a while to try just to pull people in on the whole idea of like lots of variety on workouts to do that, which, and I think it'd be kind of fun and cool. Like if they actually did, wouldn't it be fun to do like have a workout program, but you've got five different super trainers. So Shalene's one day, Sean's another day, Joel, Jericho, you do it, but it all is sort of somehow cohesive, which would be kind of a really cool mix-up mashup, which I suppose is a little bit of what you do when you do the challenge du jour, but I'd like it if it were actually more planned versus just random things that kind of come up. But anyway, just some things. Okay, so just really want to celebrate, guys, the fact that I think as a team, our volume is boosting, which is a great, great thing. And when volume is boosting, it's not just about a number. I want us to all hear that real quickly. But when our volume is boosting, guys, it's lives that are being changed. And I really want to encourage us to take in the fact that as we are connecting people with our solutions, we're really, truly changing lives. And if that is really what we are about, and I posted it this morning, is that, our transformation is really not our own. And I'm going to just say, like, part of what we're experiencing, guys, is fitness teaching life, and then coaching teaching life, right? And guys, come on, if you're not paying attention when it comes to like how coaching challenges you and like has you think differently, has you problem solve, has you try to push past your limits, so like, and especially mentally limiting beliefs all the time, dude, you are you're missing out, or your other way, you're just living in defeat all the time. Because let's face it, man, sometimes the coaching business can be brutal if you let it be, but it also can challenge you to kind of step things up and to really, do things really in a great way. So tonight, guys, we're going to kind of move things along. We're not going to make this a long call tonight. I want to just do this. I'm still figuring this out. Normally what I would do right now is I would celebrate our like Success Club points and volume and all that kind of stuff. But I do know our volume's up. I see that on my end. But like the new back office, I still have to investigate more. I used to be, there's a crazy way I would run a Success Club points report. I can't do that anymore the way I used to. So I got to just figure that out. And I will, I promise. And we'll do a shout outs regularly in the group. How many people have sold a challenge pack this month? Anybody? One challenge pack this month? And that's okay if you haven't. That's all good. That's great. And then, so I think, again, connecting people with our solutions and really helping them, take those next steps. Now, I don't know if any of you guys caught that, and is this going to be a scripting moment before we get into some of the more content of our call? But if you caught this just a few moments ago, we was talking to Holly Trukowski in the Go Team Coaches strand, the message strand. In that message strand, we talked about, so she was basically trying to connect a customer with Beachbody On Demand. And guys, if you can get a person, I'm just going to be honest with this. If you can get a person to spend $99 on their fitness, it's not much more of a jump to get them to do 160 and get the full solution. Because really, it's only a partial. When they're doing Beachbody On Demand, it's really only a partial solution for what we are. So, and just think about the thing. So look at the difference. So $60, really, really quickly. And I'm going to boost it one more level. Currently it's $170, right? When you get the Obsessed or the 80-day Obsession challenge pack. So check out again. So here's this over here. We got one side, $99, Beachbody On Demand. And you do get a lot of things with that. You do a lot of great things. Over here, Beachbody On Demand. You get portion control containers, okay? You get 30-day supply of Shakeology. Okay, it's a meal every day for 30 days. Meal every day for 30 days for busy people. Okay, you get the sliders, you get the loops, you get a Shakeology, shaker cup. I'm on 6. I don't need more fingers. So Shakeology shaker cup. You get the full out support of a challenge group, right? And of course, they would get you, but that in the other scenario too. But that much more close attention when they're in an environment that is a little bit more intentional versus like, hey, well, what are you doing? Check in once a week, maybe kind of a thing, versus a little bit more daily check-ins, all of that. So you see the upsell on that? And I hate to use the word upsell because it's really just it's just value sell. It's just like there's so much more value for $70 more, dude. You will not miss this money. I promise you. And of course the price comparative to that, all of that, when you priced out the food containers, and you price out the food containers, the bands, the sliders, a shaker cup, and Shakeology plus the Beachbody On Demand. I mean, it's so much savings. It's crazy. So if you can get them to that, the point being is if you can get them to that point of the 170, the 99, the 170 is really not that crazy hard. As long as you just help them, as you're always pointing it back to, hey, yeah, you told me you were struggling with some food, you don't know what to get for lunch. You don't know what to get for breakfast, or you don't eat breakfast, and that's horrible. Shakeology would be a great solution. And you know what? There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you hate it, you can return it. No big deal. you know? So I just would really encourage us, if you do get into that situation where they do want Beachbody On Demand, maybe they've done the free trial on Beachbody On Demand. They've done it for 14 days. And then you have to make that connection. Okay, what's next? What's your next step? And you've got to mark in your calendar, and you know when that 14 days is. Hey, did you sign up? Okay, yep, I signed up. Great. Okay, 14 days from now, or 12 days from now, I'm going to follow up with you, and we're going to kind of decide what our next steps are. If you like it, or what are you going to do? Does that make sense, everybody? Good? Hope that wasn't too much talking. All right, Jen, you are going to talk to us a little bit tonight about telling your story, right? Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. So let's hear from you. Jen's going to share a little bit about how our social media ties into, of course, telling our story, which is going to be a natural outlet for people to really connect with us. So go ahead, Jen, go ahead and share.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try not to be too long here.
That's great.
So the first part for me for telling your story is that first thing first, you joined Beachbody for a reason. You're here for a reason. So where did your story begin? Were you having struggles? Were you overweight? Were you just really in a bad place? Were you just were you even trying to just, try something different because something wasn't working for you? Was the gym not working for you? So you needed a new solution. You really have to figure out where your story begins. And that can't be somebody else's story. That can't be something you've seen on Melanie Mitro's timeline. That really, you have to discern what it is that made, what's your story? What is this about, and why are you here, first of all? And then when you start telling your story, the part on social media is that the minute you start telling things, people are going to start relating to you. You want that connection, but you want that emotional connection. You don't want people just liking your posts. You want people to actually get engaged, because the more that they start commenting, it bumps your post to the top of the newsfeed. And then the next one comments, it bumps it to the top of the newsfeed. So you're constantly being seen in the social media world. Problem is if you're not out there and you're not sharing, just your authentic self right now, Facebook's new algorithm has really, really, I don't want to use the word, but it's really messed with our businesses, because right now, unless you're paying for promotion, you're not being seen unless you're active. So you have to be posting. You have to,
so let's clarify what that means. So you can't technically pay on a personal page, right, Jen?
Right. Yeah. You would have to have, what do you call those? Like a fan page.
Yeah. Fan page, like page.
Okay. And right now, I got to be honest, it's not worth your time or your money.
A bit.
Because there it is, less than 52% of these pages are being seen. So for every 10,000, get this, for every 10,000 posts you make, like 650 people are seeing it. That's it. So you have 10,000, only 650 are seeing your post. That's
very small.
And
how many people have 10,000? Not many.
Oh, right. That's if you have 10,000, say followers.
Yeah.
And so 650, that's how it is. 650 sees that. So I would honestly rule out having a fan page. I just totally kind of left mine to what it is. It's hard to delete. So since you can't, if you don't have a business page, therefore you're not paying for your promotion. You're not paying for those sales and those ads. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to start being active in your social media presence, in your fan base, basically. The other thing is that, let's see, I have, how did your story begin?
Mm-hmm.
What has BB done for you? What has it done? What have you overcome? What are the challenges you faced? What are you working towards? What are your goals? Like, you really have to share with people, like, the deeper side of you. And sometimes that's really hard, but, people want to hear that. They want to hear that there's people out there that have goals and dreams, not people that are just posting cat memes all day, Honestly, that's not going to get you anywhere. So you're going to want to do, try to keep it as short as possible. I say short, powerful, and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to do it.
And I think probably, when you are doing, as you are doing your posts and you're sharing some of those goals, I think it's really critical to consider your audience as to like what do they want? And
right. Who are you talking to?
Yeah, who are you talking to? And so for me, guys, as it relates to in general, you can talk about this too, about yours, but particularly for me is like, I'm looking for people who are potentially looking for something. Maybe they've done career one and they've run to the end of that road. And they're like, yeah, I'm ready for something new, looking for something new. And that's what I want to be able to tell that story is that, hey, there's a challenge. There's something that maybe is, or maybe you've like been looking for a purpose that's been lacking for so long, but it's time for you to awake that giant, awake the giant within you, and try to, let's try something different. Would you be up for it? That kind of a role. And which is kind of my story too. I kind of ran to the end of the road, and I'm like, I'm kind of done with this right for now.
Yeah, that was me too. I don't want to work.
And then my faith side of that, of course, pulls that in too as well. It's because I really felt like God was leading me into that whole next phase of my life. So anyway, Jen, how about you? How does that play out in your actuality of your timeline? How are you telling people your goals? How are you shooting for that? What is that?
Actually, I will be honest with you guys. I have completely wiped my slate clean right now, because what I was doing over the last, say, 6 to 8 months was not working for me. I really had to sit back, reevaluate, and decide who it is that I'm trying to speak to. Who do I want in my business? Who do I, what are the types of people I want to help? Because I'll be honest, there's people out there that probably need help, but if they're super needy, I almost can't be the babysitter. I've been the babysitter since I was 9. I don't want to do that no more. Yeah, I'm just being real, but so now I've really kind of wiped my slate clean. I'm starting all over, and now I'm starting to gear my posts more towards, I guess what I am really doing to make changes. So like tonight, I shared with everybody, I am up at 4 a.m. eating breakfast, guys, eating a pre-workout meal. And that's almost a shock factor. Like, what the heck are you doing? Yep. But it gets attention, and then of course that will lead into me talking about why I'm doing this challenge. What I'm trying to overcome, what I'm trying to push towards. And then also I'm going to start leading it into the coaching aspect of it, like how I'm helping people, because right now we have a sneak peek coming up, meaning I need to start talking about my part-time, this is my part-time thing that I'm doing. I need to start talking more about that, telling people how, what we do, how we help people, sharing challengers' transformations, sharing their thoughts and ideas on these programs we're doing. Therefore, it's gaining interest in the coaching aspect, because right now I want to find coaches. I want to help people too, but ultimately when I'm finding coaches, I'm helping them as well, financially and fitness and health-wise.
Yep.
So that's how I'm doing it. But again, you really have to discern who your audience is, and you have to speak to them. You have to gear your posts to where they will grab it and stop their scroll.
So let's just cover that real fast, because really what, guys, when it comes to, come back to that word needy, right? Yeah. So the needy people are, I would call, very low hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. Super easy. Super easy to get those folks, especially if you have any caring nature to you. It's real easy to pull that type of person in. And this is not to say that we then go, I won't help you. Okay, please hear that carefully. That's not the message. However, I would say if you are spending a lot of time on needy people who necessarily aren't giving value back, right? Exactly. So there's a symbiotic relationship between a coach and a coachee. There's going to be some value given both ways. And if it's only take from their perspective on this and just kind of sucking you dry, and it's like, man, I could have been working with somebody really, who's really interested, and then like you're gonna dance around with me here ultimately, and I give you a free Shakeology packet and I get nothing.
Right.
So that's where it ends, right? So I would just really encourage you to make sure that you're discerning well how you're spending your time and what those type of people are. And honestly, guys, I've heard like systems on this too, and it works for coaches, guys, as well. I just want you guys to be real on this, but kind of encouraging is you can kind of rate people in terms of their interest, and that can be customers and or coaches, A's, B's, and C's. Okay. So, and you can kind of rate them where they're at. And really it's generally where people are putting their action towards. So they can talk a big talk, but then they never check in. They never check in the Challenge Tracker app. They don't ever comment on stuff. And and you're having to constantly chase them down. Dude, that's like C land. And if you're hanging out in C land all the time, it's going to drain you. You're going to lose joy. You're going to go and you're going to start saying things like, I always have to push. This coaching thing's not worth it. I feel like, you see what I'm getting at? But you get more B's and A's in your world, and they start asking you questions. They're the people who start initiating, go, hey, Dan, I was looking at this meal plan and this. I don't know what the container count is. Can you help solve this for me? That's a legitimate question. And that shows action. And when that starts happening, dude, you're like, oh, somebody's interested. Let's go. You know what I mean? And the same thing applies to coaching. It's the same thing. And if there's a person that's like, hey, did you get on the call? It's Mondays. Did you get, hey, Peggy, or I'm sorry, I'm not saying Peggy. That's not. I'm not saying. I just was coming up with a name. So Peggy, don't think bad if you're watching this later. But whoever, Sarah, whoever. It's like Jim. I don't know. And it's like you're. Hey, did you get on the? No, I was too busy. Okay. And you've done that 4 times. That's a C. Just being real. And the more then you can kind of, again, engage in those people, and then honestly, guys. Even then when you start to discern between your B's and your A's, you go, am I going to really spend a ton of time on a B minus, or that A who's really rocking? I want to set up an actual weekly call with that person, or at least some kind of weekly check-in, or we've got a message strand that's going back and forth, and it's like there's questions and back and forth, that kind of a thing. So just really encourage you on that. So that's a little bit of a sidetrack here, Jen, but I did want to highlight on that because I think that needy thing is, it can kill us if we don't.
Yeah, and it just kind of takes your drive down. Yeah. And so, like Dan's saying, rating, that's a great idea to rate your people. And it kind of sucks to put them there, but they may be a C and become an A next month. You never know.
Yep.
So keeping that list would probably be really awesome in a spreadsheet.
Yeah. And
so
you gotta rate. Go.
Yeah. I think the only thing I really have to say is that the biggest thing is for a story, sharing your story, is you don't have to have this huge transformation. Like Melissa, with your shoulder, like Dan was saying, sharing that story, sharing the modifications, people love to hear that. People want to hear that you're not perfect. That's just it. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to, to struggle and get through this and show ourselves and prove to ourselves that we're more than, these challenges.
Yeah.
So I think that was an excellent idea that Dan threw out there. And then,
honestly, again, one more thing on that. Like, honestly, you could actually, Melissa, just literally go back after the video's played and you did something. Mm-hmm. Video the person doing the real move. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, set up your camera if you got a tripod. If you don't have a tripod, you should probably get a tripod because they're about $14 and it's a really good investment. But if not, just stack up somewhere and then you show yourself doing the mod. And this is the real one. This is me. And this is life. And this is what I do. And, sometimes you got to modify. You got to modify to stay in the game. And that's what I'm doing right now. And people are like, yeah, keep it going, girl. You're awesome.
Exactly. That's where you get the encouragement from other people. And they're like, wow, she's doing this. I wonder if I could do it too.
Yeah, I like that.
That's huge.
I like that.
Sharing the stories in your head is a really good thing too. The things you're thinking when you're doing these workouts. There was a guy, I got to just tell you guys real quick. There was a guy in the 80-day obsession coach group that made a video and it had little bubbles with how he was feeling through each move.
Oh, that's fun.
Hilarious. But he, again, was sharing basically his story in a fun way. Right. So sharing those things like, oh my gosh, what did they just do? Or, oh, I don't even know what I'm doing here. It was simple, but it was really active as far as, getting attention. Right. And then, again, just sharing your life, not only with Beachbody. You can't just talk about Beachbody. People do not like that.
Yep.
Share your family, show your kids doing the workouts with you. You know, just share your life basically. And then even if you have family, I have a lot of family that do not believe in me. They don't support me. I sometimes have to talk about that, you know, and I talk about the, you know, just the overcoming part of it, and people can relate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all freaking stars and rainbows. Sometimes people need to see that dark reality and how you are doing it, because they're probably in the same position or have been.
Okay, Jen, I'm going to be the devil's advocate. Ready? Here we go. I'm not very interesting. People don't care. I'm not very interesting. I just do my routine every day. It's pretty boring. How can I be interesting? Talk to me.
How can you be interesting? That was me, Dan. That's who I was. I would actually sit down with you and I would ask you, you know, I would start asking you about your life. I would start asking you, you know, what motivates you? Why do you feel you're boring? Why do you think you're different than somebody else, you know, doing the same thing? Why are you boring, but these guys are awesome? You know, what's the difference there? And I think I would just have to, that's a hard one. That's a hard one for me.
Well, I think the biggest thing I would probably coach somebody is just like, what makes you unique? What does make you,
why are you different?
What makes you unique, and what parts of your story, you know?
Exactly.
So for Melissa, that's like the injury, right? That's a unique right now. For Linda, I take care of parents. That's unique. Then everybody does that. So that's a pain in the butt, man.
And it's relatable.
I'm just doing it like on junior version. You're doing it like full bore. You know what I mean? And so I think, you know, a lot of people then, especially, you know, in the, you know, 30s, 40s, 50s age bracket are starting to take care of their parents, right? In 60s, you know, and they're taking care of their parents. And if they can go, you know, I know how draining it can be, and yet you're still doing it, right? You're still taking care of yourself and still making that a priority. I think that's a significant thing to story to share. So that kind of stuff. And then, you know, of course, like Claire and her just like billion kids and running everywhere, and, you know, the minivan mom, we've talked about that, you know, she's got the hashtag and all that kind of stuff, but yeah. Good. Okay. Well, good stuff. So guys, a couple things we've got coming up here, just in 2 weeks from today, we'll be having our first sneak peek of the new year. Okay. And this is going to be an opportunity for us to share Beachbody coaching from in a perspective where we'll actually, you know, do it in a, you know, probably 45, 50 minute-ish format to be able to kind of explain to people what we do. Now, it's important during this period, guys, that you start considering those people that you would like to actually work with, right? And that's scary initially. It stinks, man. And to even broach the conversation initially is really hard, because the natural progression sometimes is you go, I want him to be a challenger, really fall in love with the products and do all, you know, and do all that. And that is certainly a natural way of doing it. However, and I've been coached directly from my guy at corporate. He said, Dan, you've got to get into the place where you are presenting, or at least leading to some degree with coaching as an opportunity, but for people who then can simultaneously do the fit thing as well. Okay. And I think because sometimes the incubation process, and you guys all get this, if a person has a long journey, not just on their health and fitness side, but in their mindset, the incubation process from mindset that is so defeated to I am a quality coach, active coach, that's a long incubation period, man. And it takes forever to get them, not, you know, just to the point where like, I'm willing now to start to post a little bit about my life, much less, hey, I'm going to actively be, to be one of those A coaches potentially. And of course, we're going to respect everybody in their process and where they're at. Of course, we don't want to speed that process along for somebody. So, but the point is, if you can find somebody who's further along in the process in terms of their overall confidence level, the way they post, the way that they engage, there's just a vibrancy to them already online. Dude, I want that person on my team. You know, I mean, and you just have to look out for that. And the truth is, hey, and the invite is so non-scary. Again, I'll script it for you this very specifically. Hey, Jim. Hey, Jim, love what you do online. It is amazing. You're so encouraging. And of course, this would be maybe after a conversation or two, so it's not like it's just out of the blue necessarily. So maybe I've engaged on their timeline a little bit with a little bit of intentionality. And maybe even privately, potentially. It could be a birthday post or whatever that you wish them happy birthday. But it's that I love what you do online. And the truth is, guys, there's the kind of thing about when it comes to your feed, you're going to start to naturally see these people more. Right? If you are actually encouraging the encouragers and liking the energy people on your timeline, guess who starts showing up? Those people, right? So it's sort of a natural filter. So guys, this is really funny. Do you remember what, like, the political season that we just got over with? I mean, it's still going on to some degree, but particularly when the election was happening, dude, that was crazy. Everybody was nuts. However, in my world, I was pretty insulated from it. Because honestly, my Facebook feed just didn't feature it. There's just none of those people were around that feed. I just didn't see them because I was engaging with people who tended to be more positive and not, like, they didn't fall into those traps. So anyway, so I would just say that that's going to be part of you getting in those people in your feed. And then when you do invite them and you go, hey, Jim, you know, love what you do on your line. We've got this sneak peek coming up in a couple of weeks here or next week. And I would love for you, it's going to be about 45 minutes, and it just kind of explains what we do as Beachbody coaches. And I think I would love for you to join our team. You don't have to say my team. You could say my team. I sometimes say my team. I usually say ours because I like to make it an us thing. I'd love for you to join our team. I think you'd be just fantastic at this. You're just a natural, and people are just drawn to you. Okay, there's those compliments. And honestly, minimally people are going to say, and I've said this before, minimally people are going to say something like, oh, Dan, thank you. Thanks, man, for the kind words. Appreciate it. You know, I'm really busy right now, you know, or whatever. And they just deflect it. And they're like, nah, not really interested right now. It's all good, but thank you so much. Awesome, Jim. No worries. You know, hey, we do these about every month. You know, can I keep you on the list and, you know, maybe invite you maybe in the future here? Sound good? Absolutely, Dan. Sounds great. After the compliment, what are they going to go? Honestly, after the, like, you know, blowing a little bit of sunshine their way, they're not going to go, no, I never want to be talked to again about this opportunity. Never, you know, no, right? They're going to open up to that. So 29th, there has to be, between now and then, guys, if you've always struggled and gone, I've never even got anybody to this point, it's probably because you're not engaging in any of those conversations or ever posting about it. And I know initially it stinks. It's really awkward in the beginning. But once you start getting over yourself and go, hey, this opportunity has a lot to offer. There's a lot to offer here. And it's not just financial. There's more to it than that. In the beginning, it's not all that financial. Let's just be real. It's more about mindset and tribe and helping you really just start to make some progress. And maybe, you know, initially maybe start paying for Shakeology and things like that. That'd be great. But that's kind of how it rolls. But as you're consistent with it, that helps. Okay. So 29th, 8:30, normal time. Okay. Normal time, 8:30 Eastern. And I'd love to have a good group on there. I want to ask you to make it a priority. Okay. And if you're a coach watching this on video, I want to ask you to make it a priority to be on there live and to minimally try to get one person, if not 3 people, on that call. Just, you know, I don't care if it's a challenger that you've had. And by then, honestly, guys, so a lot of us will challenger-wise, that's week 3-ish, right? We're going to enter into week 3, or that's the 3rd week, technically. And we're going to be teasing in our groups the coaching thing a lot more. I don't know if you guys noticed. I just, you know, Nicole Blauvelt, hey, happy birthday, Coach Nicole. Bring that extra. I don't know if you guys recognize that. That's very intentional by me. That's not just a happy birthday, Nicole. It's Coach Nicole. Coach, and not to say that we wouldn't do that for other people too necessarily either. but it's very specific. Coach, oh, whoa, coach. Oh, I didn't know she was a coach. Oh, there's more than just these people. Oh, well, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? So you start to see that. And so we're constantly breadcrumbing and just looking for ways to kind of sneak those things in there where people start to see people as real people. Okay. And,
you know, on that, Dan, real quick, that also, when you're shouting out people like that, that's actually giving them encouragement, and that's actually getting their name out there as well. So we're really building our team.
Yes.
So like me sharing these Shakeology things, even though it's really forward, it's something I'm just trying as a gimmick thing. Yep. But it's getting TJ's name. It's, you know, it's going to be Claire's, and I did Kelsey tonight, but it's giving them more recognition as well as a coach.
Yep. And that's that whole that's the whole recognize vital behavior, right? So that's great. Good stuff. All right. I have a fun surprise. You guys ready? Fun surprise. Next week, 5-star diamond Rachel Johnstone is going to be on here, and she freaking rocks Instagram. And she is amazing at it. And she does with Instagram stories, which lead into Facebook stories. So she's going to talk us about the mechanics of all that and really what it looks like to use Instagram, particularly for you ladies. Okay, this is your jam. And she's convinced me. She sent me tonight. She sent me 5 different examples of guys that I have to follow. So I got to follow some guys on Instagram because I literally don't have a clue what I'm doing for guy-wise in Instagram. I always feel like I need to have a bikini selfie shot from here. I hate to say it. It's awkward, you know. It's like every girl on there. It's like, oh, cleavage shot, bing, you know. Yay, good for you. But anyway, so what I'm trying to figure out is what it looks like to build for guys. And I think, honestly, guys, it's going to be really helpful for us to figure out what that looks like in terms of telling. There's a difference between telling your story and telling your active story. So an active story, which is like the right now, is a little bit annoying to the older generation of Facebookers like me, okay? Because I've been doing like Facebook where I just like, let me read about your day in one post. I don't want to look at 14 posts about every step along the way. But the newer generations, guys, they're looking more for that. They want the real. They want the in the now. And so that's just kind of part of what we'll do. And the cool part is the best part about Rachel is she's a teacher. And so she's not able to actually do this all day long, which is that's the best part about it. So like, and that's one of the big questions I'm going to ask her is like, well, how do you make that work then as a teacher, since you can't be on this all day long? Because it's one thing, honestly, to be a full-time Beachbody coach and to be able to tell your story on Instagram all day. Ain't no thing, man. That's not hard. And honestly, this is nothing against stay-at-home moms, but you've got more flexibility in there to be able to just do a quick shot, you know, that kind of a thing. But when you're teaching classes, that's a whole different story. So, or, you know, and again, working a job that maybe isn't quite as forgiving when it comes to that. So, next week, Rachel Johnstone is going to be a guest on our call. So I'm very, very excited to have her be part of this. All right. Any good questions for the good of the order before we take off here? We all good for posting for our weeks? You guys all know which groups you got, and you got your posting calendar, and I'm at least off for a day, I think, because I posted both in both my groups today. So that's a good deal. All right.
Yeah, we matched that up really well, actually.
Yes, which was good. And honestly, the cool thing is like we've got Leslie Addison's now coming in our group and doing some posting. She's a coach who's not been real active, but now she's actually going to start to get involved in the posting part of things. Gina Bliller, if you know Bliler, is actually just I'm going to give a shout out to her real quick. She just sold her first challenge pack. I'll actually be doing that in the Go Team Coach Club, so that's great. She got her sister is needing big help, and so she helped with that. So it's good stuff. All right, guys, thanks so much for listening. I'll post this in the club and make sure you tag your coaches, okay?
Thanks. Bye, guys.
Yeah, 5 a.m. Some of you.
Literally.
Bye.
Day 2.
Day 2.